this live chat for marketing digital art. Now, this is something that I've not addressed yet in public, because for a while I was feeling like I didn't have the authority to actually share all this, because for me, this digital art journey has gone very quickly. I've worked really, really hard to get my work out there and to promote it, and for my business to take off. I've worked really hard behind the scenes, but I'll be honest with you, the digital compositing side of things, many of you know if you've been following my journey that it started only mid last year. So mid 2014 was when I really dived into this area and went from shooting weddings and portraits, which I'm still doing a little bit of, to really focusing on digital photographic art, and particularly focusing on the fairy tale side, the classic story, and all of that, and wanting to really pursue it from a business point of view. So for me to share about the marketing and how that's working, I wanted to wait a little bit to make sure that I'd established myself in the industry, and that what I have to say, I guess, I want you to know that I'm still learning, I'm still trying things, but a lot of things have worked well for me, and I wanted to share those. So I've had a few questions, and I will address those first. And one of the first questions was that they would like to hear my opinion about the role that social media plays in my marketing strategy, what I use, some of the challenges that I encounter with social media. Okay, so social media is a huge part of business these days, and you know, if you're not on social media, then you're losing out on a whole lot of potential business. But which ones do you actually get onto, especially for digital art? I'm on multiple avenues of social media, and some work better for me than others. One of those is obviously Facebook, and probably a lot of you have come across me on my Facebook page. I'm still building that as well. I only started that back in, I think, September last year. So that is a great conversation area for me to post things. So Facebook, there's a lot of interaction back and forth. I can kind of get to know people that are on my Facebook and that follow me. I can interact and I can sort of see them a little bit more. So I do love Facebook for that, but to be honest, Facebook is pretty terrible these days for getting your work out there, because of the new algorithms and everything that they've brought in, and sometimes needing to pay to boost posts. And you probably will have heard people say that if you pay, then bam, as soon as you've paid, posts following won't get any reach. And I think there's some truth to that. But what I've noticed is I do boost posts, particularly when there's things like, if I've got a workshop running and it's the only way for me to get the word out to a particular area, like England, US, and for me to boost the post to that particular geographic area makes a lot of sense. It helps me to get the information out to the people that it's needed. So when I boost it, then that boost will work and I pay money for that boost, but then afterwards the next couple of posts might be a little less in reach. You might find that those next couple of posts, you look at your reach and you're not getting anywhere. But if you continue to put posts up that create lots of interaction and that people can get involved in, then it's not a long-term thing. So don't stress too much about, if you're needing to boost posts, don't stress too much about losing momentum on your Facebook page. I do it probably once every couple of weeks, and after a couple of slightly dead posts, the next few are fine and they get the normal momentum that a post would get. But that's the thing. With the way Facebook is, a lot of the time you need to look at maybe paying and utilizing the reach that, unfortunately, they've figured out a way to make businesses pay. It was free for such a long time, but not as good anymore. Then the other thing that I use, Behance, which is linked into Adobe, and I found that really good. Now for digital art and for even graphic designer and things like that, if you use Behance, it really helps to get your work out to potential businesses, potential art galleries, things like that. So instead of it being like a peer-to-peer thing, which it is as well, so lots of other digital artists are on there and they see your work. So it's not so much the general public, but yeah, art galleries and things. I've had an art gallery contact me, or a couple of art galleries actually, through my Behance folio and ask me to exhibit, which I'm sort of looking at the moment. So that's a great space to put your work up, and you can actually also put your work there and put things like behind the scenes and information about how you built your work. So it's a really good way of presenting your work, and it's kind of like an online CV. Instagram, I'm trying to build up, and I'm still working on it. If you're out there and you're on Instagram, go to my Instagram link on my website, but Story Art Australia, and yeah, have a look at that. Because on Instagram, the way that I work that is that it's a lot of little behind the scenes information, snaps of things that I'm doing to create an image, little videos behind the scenes, 15-second videos, things that I don't post on Facebook or elsewhere. So I try and make sure that I mix up what I'm posting. I'm not posting the same thing on all the different social media networks, because if you do that, then if you've got the same followers, they get bored with it. So Instagram is a space where I can just post, yeah, lots of behind the scenes information, finished images as well, but it's kind of an interactive visual space, and for photographers it works really well because it's visual, it's photos, and tagging is essential. I'm still learning the best tags, and I'm trying lots of different ones, but most of the time if I post, I get about 30 likes on an image or on something that I post, even a behind the scenes picture. So that's pretty good for me at the moment. But I think, I don't know, I have to check, 500 followers or something. So there's nothing, it's not big at all, but I just continually get it out there and put it up, and it grows. As long as it's growing, and it's growing weekly, then that's the important thing. You don't want your social media to get stagnated. LinkedIn is another one that I'm on, and for that I find it's great business to business social networking. So I am able to connect with potential businesses in the education field and speaking and sharing. I'm able to connect with the right people. So building those connections is helpful. I don't post a lot of statuses or updates, but here and there I do. But the main thing is that networking and finding connections, and that can be great if you are really wanting to, I guess, connect with those businesses and with those people that are going to get you work or are going to get you business or income. 500 Pics is also a place where I post quite regularly, and the way that I use that's a little bit different. I know some people have had a lot of success with 500 Pics, and I know Adrian Sumling is one that has had a lot of success with it, and people have recognised and seen his work and contacted him through that. So there's that side of things, but I use it as a bit of a gauge on new images. So if you're wanting to see my newest images before I actually release them on my Facebook page, I often post them on 500 Pics first. And that gives me a bit of a gauge on whether they're going to be popular, whether they're drawing people, whether they're connecting with people. And it often, yeah, I just see how quickly people respond to it, and I like to see that because it helps me then in the future. It might not help necessarily with that image, I've already done all the work on it, but it helps me to think about my future images and what people enjoy and what works and what draws people, and it helps me to plan those images so that they can be images that don't just make me feel good, but also really reach out to other people and connect with other people. So that's a good gauge. So I use that as a gauge. Twitter I'm not very good at, and I'm really trying harder to get on Twitter and post. I don't know, in Australia I don't think we use Twitter as much. I don't find it as popular, but I know worldwide obviously Twitter's a big thing, so because of that I'm working harder on Twitter, but please don't expect to see a lot of insights by looking at my Twitter page. I think I need to work on that. So it's one of those things, you know, I guess you focus on the social media that works for you, but it's still important to spread it out, because there's different clientele and different potential customers and people that you can connect with through those different outlets. Flickr, I've got some images on Flickr. I've used it a bit. Perhaps I think in the past maybe it worked better for people. I put it on there because I know that it does come up quite high in the SEO searches. So so that helps to put things on Flickr actually helps just in your searching and people finding your work. So that's a good way of getting it out there too, and it's high res, so that helps too. All right, so Google Plus, again, I use it a bit. It's good for the SEO, it's good for search engines to find you, but I had a bit of an issue with Google Plus a while back when they changed it and linked it with places and basically wiped all my data, so I've been a little reluctant to get a lot of information back on there, but it is a good space in terms of getting a good ranking with your website and linking it in with that. YouTube is fantastic if you're up for making videos, which obviously I don't mind doing, and yeah, if you can build up a following on YouTube, then that can also help, because people want to be able to watch things that help them. I think people want to be able to watch things that help their business, that entertain them, whatever it is. So having a YouTube channel just helps to build that and to build into people without them having to pay for, you know, detailed tutorials. So I try and put up on my YouTube kind of quick tips and different things that help people that they can watch quickly, so not really long tutorials. I find that long tutorials work better for people to download and decide to pay for, but the short tutorials work well. Now, the most important thing that you can do in terms of social, it's not really social networking, but it is your blog. So website. I really make an effort to try and blog at least once a week and sometimes more often. And it doesn't matter what it's about. It might be something that's interesting to people in general, digital artists. It might be something that's interesting to my clients. It might be a lot of behind the scenes to do with my images. So having behind the scenes photos, video, you know, how I actually put together something really, really helps for people to understand what goes into creating an image, what goes into all the effort that goes into it. So recently I've done a few blogs that I know have reached a lot of people, because you can see it in you need to make sure that you're keeping an eye on your analytics and seeing how your website does and whether it's attracting people to it. And you want to make sure that the time you put into it is working for you and that people are finding what you're putting on there. So recently I wrote a blog post about what is digital art. Is a photograph digital art? And that had a lot of people coming to it and talking about it. And I even found there was some forums overseas somewhere, I think, that someone had posted it, and there was a bit of conversation about it, and I didn't even know. Like, I didn't even know that it was out there until I saw the traffic coming in from that on my analytics. So if you write interesting information, then hopefully people find it and you share it out there, and you share it through your social network. So you share it through Facebook, Instagram, all those things, and then people are attracted to your website. So your website, if you can get your website happening, get lots of data, lots of traffic, and then in the Google rankings, it will go up. So the more that you put on there, the more you post, the more you write about, the more that it goes up when people are searching for you. And when you're writing, write write carefully so that the words that you're using are the sort of things that people search for. I always like to link to businesses that I'm working with. I like to actually put links into businesses that I'm working with, and so that those cross links will actually help in the SEO and in getting more traffic to my site as well as more traffic to their site as well. So you should really focus, if anything, you really need to focus on your website and then the other social networks. So pushing your website out via those other social networks is really important. I had another question that was asked, and it was about how do I market fine art one-off pizzas to clients that are prepared to pay thousands for portraits and weddings and don't understand the value of one piece of digital art. Okay, so I come from a wedding and portrait background. I've been doing weddings and portraits since 2001, officially, when my business started. So I really knew, when I got into this, I really knew how to market weddings and portraits. And compared to digital art, it's not too hard, because the big thing is people are looking for weddings, for wedding photographers. People are looking for portrait photographers. And what you need to do is get your work out there, and when they see it, then they come to you, and then as long as you've got good word of mouth and everything, it's relatively easy to transition them into book. But digital art, what is it? People don't even know. Most of the time when people ask me what I do, I have to get my phone out and show them, because I can't even explain it in words.